Hello, everybody. My name is Justin.claver, and I'm a student of meditation, and I also practice Magick. And today, I just wanted to do a video over 4 essential books on meditation and magic that I think is essential for anybody that's wanting to get into meditation and to also practice magic in their life, so that they can raise their consciousness and raise their vibration to higher levels and attain enlightenment in their life. So I'll go ahead and just start. There's one book in particular that I really enjoyed whenever I first encountered it, and it's by Dr. Israel Regardie, and it's known as the 1 Year Manual. And that's the book right there. It's the 1 Year Manual, 12 Steps to Enlightenment. And in this book, he goes over a few things that I think are very important. There's the first section of the book, which is known as the 4 adorations. And these are done at different times during the day. One as soon as you wake up, one during the afternoon, one during the evening, and then one right before you go to bed that you perform. And these adorations are to help you connect with God on a very cyclical kind of nature, and to make sure that you're always in the presence of God throughout your day and always constantly reminding yourself of your connection to God. And so in these adorations, the first one is associated with Ra, the god Ra, and symbolizes the sun in its rising. And then you have the Egyptian god Hathor, which represents the moon in its mid-course, or at the afternoon sun, right at its highest point. And then you have the Egyptian god Atum, or Tum, who symbolizes the evening sun as it's setting to the horizon. And then you have Kefra, which is the sun where you can't see it. It's the midnight sun, where it's pretty much going through its cycle of rebirth to where it comes into being in the morning once again. And so you have those 4 adorations. You could look up the adorations on Google, and you can probably find exactly what to say. In the book itself, it tells you the pretty much the prayer that you would be using or utilizing, the adoration that you'd be utilizing to communicate to these forces and to connect with God. And what I also do whenever I do the adorations, I also incorporate 4 major stars in the constellations surrounding our planet. And that would be in the east, you call on the star Tishtar. In the south, I call on the star of Regulus. In the west, I call on the star of Sattaves. And then in the north, I call on the star of Anant. And I vibrate these names, and I visualize these stars as luminous, bright lights above my head. And I connect a column to these lights that send this energy from the star in the constellations which are located to my body, and give it light and give it chi or prana. And what I do is I just breathe in a few times, seeing the lights growing brighter and brighter. You can visualize them with different colors. For Tishtar, you would do yellow, and maybe look at put the sign of Aquarius in that star. And then for Regulus, you would visualize it as red and with the sign of Leo in that star. And then for Sattaves, you would visualize it as blue and put the sign of Scorpio in that star. And then you have Anant. I would visualize it either green or black, and you could put the sign of Taurus in that star. And those just symbolizing the different forces that are associated with those elements: air, fire, water, and earth. Okay, so moving on from the adorations, he goes into what's known as body awareness. You pretty much just sit into meditation and get used to the idea of feeling what your body feels like. So you want to feel whatever, if it's like an itch or something like that, just the subtle things that are inside your body, how your hand feels, how your feet feel, and get used to feeling like vibration or pressure or tingling or warmth throughout the body, and getting used to that body awareness. So as you get further into your meditation and Magick, you can begin to feel subtle energy coursing throughout your body as you get to manipulate that energy and use it in different rituals and stuff like that. And then from body awareness, he goes into relaxation, the idea of making sure that you get used to relaxing the body whenever you meditate. And this allows you to go into the parasympathetic mode of the body, which allows it to repair itself and focus on using its energy on replenishing the body and nourishing the body. And using relaxation allows you to get into deeper states of mind, like the alpha state of mind or the theta or delta states of mind, as you get into deeper and deeper trances of meditation. And then from there, he goes into rhythmic breathing. Usually you do the fourfold breath. So you would inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold without any air for 4 seconds. And get used to doing a rhythmic kind of breathing. And this also helps to quiet the mind as you focus on breathing as you do your meditations. But whenever you're doing this, you also want to think of your body as a second pair of lungs, like your skin as a second pair of lungs. You want to visualize the pores of your body getting larger, almost like air being able to flow throughout these the pores of your body. And whenever you do visualize this breathing, usually whenever I try to do my pranic breathing, I visualize my body lighting up as brightly as possible as I'm pulling in chi to my body, and then also using my skin as like a second pair of lungs, pretty much. And you'll begin to pull in vast amounts of chi as you begin to work on this, and be able to develop your energy centers a lot more effectively and easily as you do this. And from there, he goes into mind awareness. So you want to be aware of your thoughts, whether they be positive or negative, because they really do have an effect on how you live your life, what you experience in your life, and what you attract to yourself. So he goes into mind awareness and getting control of our thoughts and getting rid of that monkey mind. And from there, there's a couple rituals that he talks about. There's one called the Rose Cross Ritual, and there's one that's known as the Middle Pillar. The Rose Cross Ritual is similar to what's known as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, but it's not as I guess you could say, effective as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram or the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, but it's still very effective in teaching you how to manipulate energy and to be able to develop that ability to manipulate chi and stuff like that. So whenever you're doing the Rose Cross Ritual, you'll stand in a room somewhere. It doesn't matter where. You could stand outside somewhere if you wanted to do it outside, or you could be in your bedroom or something like that. But usually you dedicate a room or place where you do this every day. That way the energy builds up in the place that you're doing it, and it becomes much more powerful over time because you keep pulling energy into the same place. And so whenever you do this ritual, you would draw a cross, just a regular Christian cross in gold light. So you would breathe in as deep as you can and visualize gold light entering into your heart chakra, or the center chakra of your body. And then you project that energy from the heart chakra through your hand using the sword mudra, which is the 2 fingers here. And you project it out of those fingers into the air in front of you, in the east, the south, the west, and then the north. And once you do that, what you do is you draw the cross first in gold light. And then there's a circle that you draw over the center of the cross where it intersects in red light. And there's 2 names that you use to help visualize the energy projecting out of your hand into the air to solidify that energy out in front of you. in both instances when you draw the cross and you draw the circle. So what you say for the gold cross is Yeheshua, and so you would go Yeheshua and vibrate it out to where you feel that energy vibrating from your heart chakra out your arm, through your hand, and into the air. And then whenever you're drawing the red circle around the center of the cross, you would vibrate the name Yehovasha. And those are the two names that you would use. You would draw it in the east, then you would draw it in the south, draw it in the west, and draw it in the north. And then from there, you go back to the east where you began, and you draw it over the top of yourself, right above you. So you draw a cross with the circle above you, and then you go from the top of yourself back over the west end, right behind you, down to the bottom of the floor, and then you also draw another cross with a circle there, and then you come back up to the east, and then you move to the south, and then you draw another cross above you again, and then you go to the north, circling back down and drawing a cross down below you, and then back up to the south. And you connect whenever you're doing this, you're connecting a white line or a gold line from each one of the crosses surrounding yourself. So it's like you're surrounding yourself in a sphere of light. But you would go back to the south after you complete that bottom cross, and connect that energy from the south to the west, to the north, and back to the east. And then you're completely surrounded by these crosses. And there's a prayer that he has you say during the beginning of the ritual to start it off, to invoke energy of God and stuff like that. And then there's another prayer that you finish the ritual with. But I won't get into that. I'll just let you find that in the book if you purchase the book. And from there, you go to the middle pillar exercise. And in the middle pillar exercise, there's 5 energy centers that you would focus on, which are from the tree of life, is associated in Kabbalah. You have the Kether center, which is at the crown chakra. You have the throat center, which is part of Da'ath in the tree, which is the invisible sphere. Then you have, the center sphere or Sephiroth in your chest area, which is associated with Tifereth. Then you have the one near the genitals or in the sexual center, which is associated with Yesod. And then you have the one that's on your feet, in the middle of your feet, which is associated with Malkuth. Excuse me. So whenever you're doing this, you would, what he says in the book is that you would use the associated God names with those spheres from the Tree of Life or Kabbalah. You would do E'ye for the crown chakra. I believe for the throat chakra, it is Yahweh Elohim. And then for the heart chakra would be Yahweh Eloah Da'ath. And then for the sexual center, you would do Shaddai El Kai. And then for the bottom center near the feet, you would do Adonai Ha-Aretz. And whenever you're doing that, you're communicating to yourself that you are, I am, E'ye, the Lord God, Yahweh Elohim, the Lord God of knowledge and light, I believe, of knowledge, the God of knowledge and wisdom, I believe, for the center, heart chakra. And then I forget what Shaddai El Kai was, what it means, but the last center is Lord of the Earth. And what you're doing is that you're telling your subconscious and reminding yourself that you are God, the embodiment of God, and you're connecting with those higher energies whenever you invoke those God names. But there's different things that you can do. You don't necessarily have to use the God names if that's not something you want to do. You could invoke angels, or you could do other mantras, whatever you feel would be best for you. Whatever gets you to feel the vibration of the spheres and to visualize those spheres as concretely as you can. But whenever you're doing it, you're breathing into all the centers. So you would visualize a center up in the sky, pretty much out and into infinity. And you would visualize this sphere as you're breathing, getting brighter and brighter, as bright as you can make it. And then from there, as you invoke these God names or angels or whatever you would do, you would bring that light from that center that's up in the sky to your crown chakra and fill that crown chakra with as much light and brightness as you can make it. And whenever you do this, you may also want to visualize that sphere spinning, either clockwise or counterclockwise, or the light that's coming into that chakra. You could also see it spiraling into that center. And that kind of helps you to focus and center that energy into those centers, and you'll be able to feel those energy centers a lot easier if you start to visualize it that way. And you would do that for every single center. So as you begin to invoke that energy down from the heavens to your body, you would see it go from each chakra as a beam of light going to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, all the way down to your feet. And then whenever you're done with that, you would visualize an energy center near the center of the earth, I guess you could say. And you would see all of these centers, the one in the heaven, all the ones in the middle pillar, and the one in the earth, growing as brightly as possible whenever you breathe in. And once you're done with that, once you're done invoking the angels or mantras or the God names, you would begin to circulate this energy from the bottom of your feet center all the way up to your head center. You would go from the bottom center up the right side of your body, up to the crown chakra, and then down to the left side of your body to your feet, to the ground chakra, pretty much. And you would do that left to right and front to back 3 times each. And what that kind of does is it helps develop an egg-shaped aura around you that's more solid and isn't frayed or anything like that. Most people, their auras aren't very concrete, and their energy isn't sealed off, so it escapes from them very easily. But if you do this practice and you do it very often, you circulate this energy from left to right, front to back, and then you also bring it from the feet up to the top of the head, and you visualize it like beaming forth like a fountain over your entire body back down to your feet. And you do each one of those 3 times, and that helps to build the aura to where it's sealed off, and you help contain your energy, and you don't lose energy as easily. But that's pretty much everything in the 1-year manual. I wanted to move on from the 1-year manual to another book called The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. And here's what it looks like. You can see right there. And in this book, it goes over the Emerald Tablets that were written by Thoth, the Atlantean. And he gives very important truths and stuff in this book, as well as some different things that I wanted to share with you that you could use as well. Now, what I'm basically just going to cover out of the book is the 7 Lords of Light, which you can invoke into the different 7 chakras. You could use the 7 chakra system of the body, from the base of the spine all the way to the crown chakra. And also how to invoke Thoth into your sphere of realm, so that you may be able to communicate with him, and he could communicate some different truths to you, or maybe help you along your journey to enlightenment. And then a couple mantras to use when trying to astral project. So for the Lords of Light, I'm just going to go ahead and name them off, and this is from top to bottom. So you would invoke these names from the crown chakra down to the base chakra or the root chakra. And the names are Untanas, Quertas, Chiedel, Goyana, Huertal, Semveta, and Ardal. And pretty much when you invoke these names, you would do the same thing. You would visualize spheres of light on your body. You could use the same colors associated with the seven chakras if you wanted to do that. But I usually just visualize white light for every single one of the chakras, as it's easier for me to do. And white light is very universal. It's used for pretty much anything because it contains all the light spectrum. Visualizing white light is a good beginner's thing to do for the chakras, and then once you get used to visualizing that white light, you could step it up and start visualizing the colors and start doing violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red is what you would visualize the chakras as. And so those are the 7 lords of light that you would invoke from the book. He goes into different prayers that you could use as well for attaining wisdom and for attaining universal consciousness. And there's another mantra known for wisdom that he also recommends that you use to help influence the sphere, help to bring in wisdom into your life, and it's known as Zen Uru. And you would just vibrate that, and you would visualize the light and everything, and like you're communicating with the Akashic records or something like that, to attain wisdom. And then I'll go ahead and give you the name that Thoth gives you to invoke him into your sphere. And that is Chekatet, Arlik, Volmalites. And you would do those 3 names 3 times. So you would go Chekatet, Arlik, Volmalites, and you would vibrate that name 3 times. And you may feel a presence in your area, or you may not feel anything at all. He usually doesn't communicate with people who aren't sincere or pure of heart. So attaining wisdom or teachings or any kind of communication with him may be difficult at first, but once you begin to work on your thoughts and get rid of any kind of negative thoughts and stuff like that, and only use positive thoughts in your life and develop a pure heart, he will then grow closer to you and may actually start to communicate different things to you, and may begin to initiate you into the Egyptian mysteries and stuff like that. Okay, so there's 2 other mantras for astral projection that I wanted to give y'all. One is for relaxing the body and releasing the soul body or astral body out of the body. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And this mantra is La Il Ganuver. And you would repeat this over and over and over again until you begin to feel your body, your soul body separating from your physical body. But you have to have really good control over your thoughts and be able to relax your body very easily, so that you can get into these deeper trances to allow this mantra to be as effective as it can be. And then once you use that mantra, you can use the next mantra, which is Dor E Lil, and this initiates astral projection. So you could try these different mantras, see what happens for yourself, see if you begin to astral project or what happens to you. Just try them out. I've tried them a little bit, and they're fairly powerful for me. But there's different other mantras that you could use from other different traditions. You don't necessarily have to use these, but I would trust the knowledge of Thoth and what he has to give you. So you could try them out, and hopefully they're very effective for you. All right, moving on from the Emerald Tablets, I wanted to suggest this book is known as Psychic Witch by Matt Aron, and this is what it looks like. You can see right there. And in this book, he just goes over how to develop your psychic abilities and just how to meditate very well and how to practice magic. and he goes in depth, very in depth on how to do these things. But I'm just going to share a couple things out of the book, and hopefully you can read it and get a lot more knowledge out of it. So one of the things is psychic affirmations that he suggests that you do every single day, daily. Try for a week or month or year, and see how well they begin to work on you. You could do these affirmations the first thing in the morning when you wake up. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself and really believe what you're saying. And whenever you say these things, you're sending that vibration to your subconscious, and you're telling yourself that you're going to develop these psychic abilities. And as you do this over and over and over again, you may begin to see that these psychic abilities will just manifest themselves, and you'll begin to do all sorts of things. But a couple of those affirmations is, I am psychic, or I can feel and see subtle energy. And just doing this over and over again, like I said, will begin to develop your psychic abilities. But he has other meditations and stuff that he goes into to help build these psychic abilities up. Another thing that he also gives in the book is known as elemental square breathing. And this is the same thing as the fourfold breath that I was talking about earlier. Whenever you do the rhythmic breathing in the one-year manual. But for this, you would think of the four elements as you're breathing in. So the 4 seconds that you breathe in, you would think earth, air, fire, water. And then for the 4 seconds that you hold, you would think earth, air, fire, water, and repeat that for the exhale and for the hold at the end. And what this does is just kind of balance the elements within yourself. But when you do this, you could think of the different colors inside your body. So you could visualize green or black entering in your body for earth. For air, you could visualize yellow. And then for fire, you could visualize red. And then for water, you could visualize blue. And you could think of these different elemental energies as different states of chi, and how it can manifest itself. And I'll go a little bit deeper into that when I explain the next book, because there's different properties to these elements that can be associated with the chi that you're pulling into your body, and can either increase or decrease these elements within your own body, depending on how much chi that you pull in or expel from your body. But moving on from Psychic Witch, which is a very good book, and I recommend that everybody gets it. But this one is almost essential if you're going to get into the realm of magic. And it's something that I think everybody should read, because it has very advanced techniques in it that are very essential to your elevation of consciousness and stuff like that. But it's called Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Barden, and this is what it looks on the cover and everything. And in this book, he mainly talks about, in the first chapter, about thought control, thought discipline, and thought vacancy. And what you do is that you, for the thought control, it's the same thing as mind awareness and one-year manual, where you take 5 to 10 minutes of meditation and try and minimize the amount of thoughts that are going through your head. So you want to try and get to a point where you have very little or few thoughts running through your mind whenever you perform this meditation, and ultimately get to a point where you have complete control of your thoughts, to where it's only positive thoughts and you get rid of all the negative thoughts. The next step is thought discipline. And in this step, you do 5 to 10 minutes of visualizing one thought, and you try and keep that thought concretely in your mind for that 5 to 10 minutes. And what you could do is that you could just visualize different geometric structures, like a cube or an octahedron, a square or a circle. And you could give these different objects colors and stuff like that if you wanted to go a little bit more advanced with it. But try and hold that image in your mind for 5 to 10 minutes. And if you accomplish this for 5 to 10 minutes, then you've made quite a bit of progress. And the last one is thought vacancy. And what you can do is you can get like a rosary, or I forget what it is, like a bead necklace that has like wooden beads or crystal beads, whatever you feel you want to get. Or you could just get a bracelet that has little beads and stuff on it, wooden beads. And whenever you do the thought vacancy test, what you're trying to do is eliminate all thoughts altogether. So it's just pure awareness that you have, just pure consciousness. No thought words, no images, nothing like that. You want to get it completely still and stillness. And with the beads and everything like that, you can count each thought that enters your mind while you're doing this. And after you do it several different times, you can keep count and journal how many thoughts came into your mind for each time you do this meditation. And the fewer beads that you have over time, you can see your progress towards absolute stillness. And from there, he goes into, I believe this is in chapter 2, about conscious breathing or pranic breathing, conscious eating or the Eucharist, and then the magic of water. Okay, so for conscious breathing, you want to get to a point where throughout the day, no matter what, you're always thinking of breathing in chi. And whenever you're breathing, you always want to feel like you're connected to life force or to God or some divine figure, angel or something like that, that's sending you energy throughout the day. And not just whenever you're meditating. You want to try and get to where you're thinking about this on a daily basis, every second of every day. And you'll make progress much quicker because you'll be pulling in prana or chi into your body for it to crystallize and for it to become more concrete in the different spheres or the chakras. And you also want to be conscious of whenever you're eating as well. And it's pretty much just the idea of the Eucharist. And what this is like whenever you go to church or something like that, and they give you like the little wheat biscuit that's a representative of Christ's body, and then they give you the wine or the water that's supposed to represent his blood. And when you're doing this, you want to visualize like you're actually filling that food, whether you're eating macaroni and cheese or whatever. Not that's a great thing to be eating, but whatever you're eating, whether it be meat or vegetables or something like that, you want to send prana and chi into that food to purify that food, as well as to thank God and also have gratitude towards receiving that food. And as you do this, you'll pull more and more chi into your body because you're infusing it into everything that you eat. And you do this on a daily basis over and over and over. And as you visualize yourself filling water or your food with chi, you bless it and you give it a more crystalline structure, more in line with the universal forces and stuff like that. And things like meat and stuff like that, if the animal had suffered for whatever reason whenever it died and wasn't, I don't know what the word is, but when you bless it, you get rid of that fear that would be contained within that meat, and be able to have it at a higher vibration of love and gratitude and stuff like that. So try and practice the Eucharist whenever you can. And then he also goes into the magic of water. And what he explains in this is that you can change the crystalline structure of water by praying over it. This is what they do whenever they make kosher salt and stuff like that. They pray over it, and they send chi or life force energy into the food or water in order to bless it and make it raise your body to a higher vibration rather than leaving it in a lower vibration if it's distorted or anything like that. There's a movie known as The Secret of Water, which goes over a scientist from Japan. His name was Masaru Emoto, and what he did is he would expose water to either loving thoughts or hateful thoughts, and he would then flash freeze this water and create either crystals or distorted crystals out of the water, depending on what vibrations were sent to that water. And so you could see water that was exposed to love and joy. You would see the crystalline structure as like a hexagon or something like that branching out, and you would see that it was at a higher vibration than if you were to expose the water to hateful thoughts or to like heavy metal or something like that. It would distort the water and completely break the crystal to where they couldn't form. So you have to be very mindful of what you're ingesting into your body, especially whenever it comes to water. Always bless your water whenever you before you drink it, and try and take in more chi into your water whenever you are using water. Another thing you could do is whenever you're bathing or showering or whenever you're washing your hands or something like that, you could visualize dead chi or like dirty chi, I guess you could call it, leaving your body, going into the water, and then being cleansed into the earth. You could do this just by grounding and visualizing the gray or black smoky chi exiting the soles of your feet, going into the center of the earth, and then being transmuted into life force chi, like green chi or gold chi or white chi, whatever you want to visualize it as. And then you can pull that transmuted energy back up through the earth, through the soles of your feet, to the chakra points throughout your body, and help pull that earth chi into your body to help pull more life force energy into the centers and develop those centers. But whenever you're washing your hands, whenever you're done with the bathroom or something like that, you could always visualize this dirty chi leaving your hands, going into the water, and cleansing yourself. So you always want to be repeatedly doing this with water, with food, and also with your breathing, always visualizing chi entering into your body. Another thing that he goes into is known as the soul mirror. There's a black and there's a white mirror that he talks about, and he wants you to start a journal, and you would pretty much add the good traits of of who you are and everything that you do in the white journal, and then the negative things that are about you that you don't like, you would put in the black journal. And you would try and get as many traits in both the white and the black as you could, so you know what you need to focus on to make yourself better and what you need to get rid of. And this is very essential to the rest of the practice in the book, because whenever you begin to work with elements and stuff like that, they can flare up or make the negative things about your personality worse, or they can make it better. It depends on if you're aware of those things or not. So it's very important that you get used to thinking positive thoughts and also working on your positive attributes and trying to minimize the negative attributes about your character. Another thing that he goes into is the element breathing, which is kind of like the same thing from Psychic Witch, only with this you would focus on one element. So you could do with fire, air, water, or earth. And so if you were to breathe in fire, you would visualize this chi as red chi, or you could do whatever kind of color you want to do. But red is usually the color associated with fire. And you would feel this chi as it being warm. And so this chi being warm, you'll begin to feel the fire building up within your own body. The only thing about this is that whenever you're doing this elemental breathing, you want to breathe out the element as much as you're breathing it in. So if you breathe in 3 sessions of this fire element, you want to breathe out 3 sessions of the fire element to make sure that it's balanced within your body. You don't want to have it increased and then have something bad happen to you. So you want to be very conscious of what you're doing whenever you do work with these elements. You do want to pull in these elements and work on these elements as you progress, but you want to do it in a balanced way. You don't want to have one element more than the other. You want to have all 4 equally, so that you can have equilibrium in the body. But with air, you would feel lightness. You would try and feel lighter whenever you're pulling in the air element. For water, you would feeling cold, so you would try and feel colder whenever you're breathing in water. And then with earth, you would feel gravity or heaviness. You would try and feel heavier whenever you're breathing in the earth element. And that's pretty much it with the elemental breathing. Just make sure that you breathe out the element as much as you're breathing in so that you stay in equilibrium. And then one more thing that I wanted to share from the book, and you could go and read it, and there's much more information than I've shared, but you would want to take each step one at a time and work on yourself first before progressing further into the book. This way you don't fall out of equilibrium and cause all kinds of weird things to happen to yourself. But what you could do is you can impregnate rooms with the elements as well. So you could visualize this room like this. You would breathe in and you would see the room grow brightly red or something like that. And it would actually become warmer in the room. Or you could breathe in air to the room and it would become lighter. Breathe water into the room and it would become colder. Or you could breathe the earth into it and it would feel heavier in the air. And it's just to try and work with these elements, get used to the elements, and try and feel the different types of chi and working with them. And as you do this over and over, you develop communication with the different creatures and stuff associated with the elements. Salamanders for fire, sylphs for air, undines for water, and the gnomes for earth. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to share from the 4 books. I'm going to go ahead and give links down below to Amazon where you can buy these books. And hopefully you buy them and try them out. And hopefully they help you progress a lot further in meditation and magic in your life so you can help raise your consciousness to a higher level. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.